All right, Shalom.
Shalom.
First and foremost, want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh,
Yahweh,
Ba'ashem,
Bashim,
Yahushai,
Yahushai,
Ba'ashem,
Bashim,
B'Kakwadash.
Bakakwadash.
Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone that taught us this truth. And Shalom to the hopeful elect, the Akim and the Akwaf scattered around the four corners of the planet Earth that have returned to the obedience of the scriptures. All right, I'm the brother Iraq, GMS Dallas, and I got the brother
Tashawa Kwama.
Khan. I got the brother tagging along with me. All right, and through the spirit, we wanted to do the work, man, to get a lesson in. All right, because as you can see, major things are going on. The Lord is making moves. The Lord is making moves, and through the spirit, you should be fired up. You should be fired up. All right, but it's going to take faith. It's going to take faith, and it's going to take a spiritual mind. All right, in order to basically stomach, if you will, the will of the Lord, playing out on the planet Earth. It's finna get vulgar, right? It's finna get bloody. It's finna get aggressive. All right, because major judgment's about to go forth.
Because all this is just prophecy.
Mm-hmm.
All and that's something that here at GMS we've been in on, the whole time through the spirit and power of how about Shemel Shai, man.
Mm-hmm.
All right. We know that these other camps, coined us being faith-based Israelites, and now our faith or the world's faith is coming to show. So why do you how about Shemel Shai for that? But you got it.
I'll start with this. This is Hebrews chapter 10 and verse 38. But this phrase comes up more times. It comes up about 4 times. Matter of fact, when you look it up, let me share my screen. I typed in "just shall live by faith" in the on Blue Letter, and it says occurs 14 times in 4 verses in the KJV. You know what I'm saying? So Hebrews 10 and 38, it says, "Now the just shall live by faith." All right, and who are the just? All right, the just are basically the individuals the elect, right? The individuals that are covered by the blood of Yahushua. The elect, and then also the remnant, and you can liken that basically unto the time of Exodus, all right, where the commandment was given out to Moses, were given out by Moses, all right, that your doorpost had to have that blood on it. But again, I'm gonna read it again. It says, "Now the just shall live by faith, but if any man draw back, my soul shall have no pleasure in him." Okay, so in order to make it through this time that we're finna go through, faith is going to be our power source. It's going to be the energy, the juice in the battery, so to speak.
Oil.
Yep.
Yeah, the oil, because just like what was going in on, I mean, it reminds me of that parable of the 5 foolish virgins and the 5 wise. And the foolish virgins had used up all their oil, for filthy lucre's sake. That they didn't encompass their world with how Bashim Al Shai. They chose to go about it in the cardinal sense. And then whenever holy hell came, whenever how Bashim Al Shai came back and was and they weren't ready.
Right.
They weren't ready,
Yep.
So, but all that to say, you got it.
Khan, I'm gonna start off here in Romans chapter 8. This is Romans chapter 8 and verse 5. It says, "For they that are after the flesh do mind the things of the flesh." All right, basically going into carnality. All right, and especially here in Babylon the Great, but worldwide as well. The entire planet Earth basically operates in carnality. All right, or in other words, instant gratification, pleasing the flesh. All right, chasing a feeling,
chasing the bag.
Yep, all that. The American dream, so to speak, right? It's centered around chasing feelings, man. Chasing this mystical, magical feeling that you're supposed to obtain. But it's really all an illusion. It's a lie.
And that's all brought on by Esau Edom.
Yep.
Because his blessing wasn't spirituality. Right? His blessing was feed your flesh. All right. So You got it.
Con, this is Romans 8:5. And you mind passing me my backpack right there real quick? This is Romans 8:5. It says, "For they that are after the flesh, do mind the things of the flesh, but they that are after the spirit, the things of the spirit." Okay. You make point?
And all that to say, because this whole thing was brought up at the beginning, through Cain and Abel. All right. Because the things of the flesh, were something that you can get right then.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And the thing of the spirit was what Yahweh Bashim Shai wanted the elect to have from the beginning, regardless. And it trickles all the way down to us, because Jake, is a spiritual people. It's just being in this cardinal flesh. We sin all the day long.
Right.
Yep. And sin it's a transgression, of Yahweh Shemel Shai. And that's what Esau wants to keep us in. That fleshly, grimy mentality.
Yeah.
But you got it.
Con, I'm gonna read that verse again. It says, "For they that are after the flesh do mind the things of the flesh." All right, and I forget that precept where it talks about how the heart is desperately wicked.
Oh, the heart is deceitful above all things.
I want to say that's Jeremiah 17. Let me see if I can find that real quick. This is Jeremiah 17:9. All right, it says, and the main idea behind the lesson is going into, basically getting ready to tap into a higher way of thinking, and that's what we've been doing during this grace period. All right, is really tapping into the thoughts and intents of Yahweh Bashem Yahushua through the spirit of prophecy, because that's what it means when it says those who are after the spirit do mind the things of the spirit. The spirit of what? The spirit of prophecy, man. But this is Jeremiah 17:9. It says, "The heart is deceitful above all things and desperately wicked. Who can know it?" Verse 10, it says, "I, the Lord, search the heart. I try the reins, even to give every man according to his ways and according to the fruit of his doings." All right. So if you operating with a carnal mind, all right, case in point, all right, these Jakes, these Israelite camps that are picking up the sword, picking up the gun, right, and doing fucking videos and posting them on Instagram, thinking that they scaring somebody with that shit. Guess what you're gonna get? You're gonna get everything you was asking for, man.
Yeah, stupid decision. Breed super reward.
Right.
So and if you're thinking that you're counting on Esau's blessing to save you in that day, you are of another nature, brother.
Yep. But I'm gonna go back, so I don't want to get too much off. Yeah. It's Romans 8 and verse 5. It says, "For they that are after the flesh do mind the things of the flesh, but they that are after the spirit, the things of the spirit. For to be carnally minded is death, but to be spiritually minded is life and peace." Okay, so that's the formula right there. All right, we're supposed to be forsaking, mortal thoughts, forsaking the carnal mind. Okay, and reincarnation is a part of that. Charity, all right, amongst the brothers is a part of that. All right, seeing Yahweh Shai, all right, and brothers, you know what I mean? But then also, fulfilling your lot. Fulfilling your lot don't got nothing to do with your car, don't got nothing to do with, the clothes that you wear. You know what I mean? It's all spiritual. Has everything to do with the will of the Lord. You got a point out?
You got it.
Con, I'm gonna keep going then. This is Romans chapter 8 and verse 7. It says, "Because the carnal mind is enmity against Yahweh Shai." All right, and that makes me think about the account where Peter, Peter was basically going in on how, he didn't want the Lord to die. He didn't want the Lord to become that sacrifice. And what did the Lord say? The Lord said, basically he was going off. He called him Satan.
Yep.
Because in that moment he was basically being carnal. He was being emotional. So that right there is an account that you can chew on, You know, because in the flesh you may not want something, but in the spirit it may be expedient.
Yeah, because really your feelings don't matter.
Exactly.
You know, what you want isn't. I mean, what Yahweh Shai wants. All right,
Mhm.
your ways are not His ways. Your thoughts are not His thoughts.
Mhm.
All right. So whenever you see something, you think, "Oh, I can do it better," but really you gotta let it be.
Right.
But you got it.
Yeah, you got a precept or anything?
I was gonna pull that Wisdom of Solomon 9 and 15.
If you want to, you can.
But I don't want to deviate too
No,
far.
no, no, you good.
All right, because Wisdom of Solomon 9 and 15, it says, for the corruptible body, Salakia. I'll start at the 14.
I can read it for you if you want.
Bible shop.
This is
I think it's started at 14. I perceive.
Khan. This is Wisdom of Solomon chapter 9 and verse 15. And it reads, can I start at verse 14?
Bible shop.
It says, for the thoughts of mortal men are miserable, and our devices are but uncertain.
You know, because we are thinking with our own lives.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we're not pressing into the spirit of Yahweh Shemel Shai, and that's what we need to do.
Mm-hmm.
But you got it.
It says, verse 15. It says, for the corruptible body presseth down the soul, and earthy tabernacle weigheth down the mind that museth upon many things.
See, it says the corruptible body presses down the soul. All right, so it's trying to alienate or separate you from Yahweh Shemel Shai.
Mm-hmm.
Because you have a war going on in your body, you know, in your mind.
Right.
You know, every day you wake up, you know, should I follow the spirit,
mm-hmm.
or should I go and do what I want to do, you know, in the flesh?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so and whenever you get to a point to where you can understand how your days go,
mm-hmm.
you know, and you tend to lean towards more of the spirit, you know, your life gets better because you're leaning upon Yahweh Shemel Shai for all your ways, you know, and for all your protection.
Mm-hmm.
But you got it, bro.
Khan.
There's a little bit more.
Khan. Verse 16. It says, and hardly do we guess aright at the things that are upon the earth, and with labor do we find the things that are before us, but the things that are in heaven who have searched out.
See, you know, hardly do we guess aright, you know, of the things of this modern life. All right, we don't have, you know, the full proper understanding of things.
Mm-hmm.
All right, who does? How about Shimei Shai does? No. So where should we go for guidance? We shouldn't be thinking and leaning upon our own lives, our own minds.
Yeah,
we should be leaning upon Yahweh Shimei Shai, especially in these times, because we have His walk. We have other men that have walked upon the earth, you know, in the spirit of Yahweh Shemel Shai, mm-hmm. all right, that we can lean upon for proper understanding and discernment.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but you got it.
I'm gonna read the next verse too, if that's cool.
Bible.
It says, I don't know if you were planning on finishing it out, but there's some good stuff in the last two verses.
Yeah,
it says, and thy counsel who have known, except thou give wisdom and send thy Holy Spirit from above.
You know, unless Yahweh Shemel Shai gives us the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding that we desperately need, mm-hmm. you know, to get through our day to day. All right, because this isn't something that you just pick up, read once, and put down. This is a lifestyle. This is something that you take and you apply. Okay, because you have to apply it, because that's the only way that we're going to get out of here. Is if we apply the things that Yahweh Shemel Shai has given us, mm-hmm. you know, to enrich our spirits, protect our minds, and keep us, you know, on the straight and narrow for our deliverance.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
If I may too, the scriptures also say no prophecies of private interpretation.
Yeah.
You know, letting you know that it all comes from above. It comes from the throne, wisdom. You know, and then there's a little bit more.
You got it.
The last verse. It says, "For so the ways of them which lived on the earth were reformed, and men were taught the things that are pleasing unto thee, and were saved through wisdom."
See, so wisdom saves. Yahweh Shemi Al-Shai delivers his elect.
Mhm.
All right, he doesn't deliver every Joe Blow Smo, that comes upon this earth.
Right.
No, he delivers those that seek diligently after him. Look at Enoch. He was delivered. He was redeemed from the perilous times. Okay, even up into today's time, because Yahweh Shemi Al-Shai is still saving.
Mm-hmm.
But you got it. So like, I don't want to deviate too far off the topic.
I got a quick one. It says, this is Proverbs 23 and 26. It says, my son, give me thine heart, and let thine eyes observe my ways. All right. And that makes me think about Romans 12, basically being transformed by the renewing of your mind. All right. When you come into this thing, or not even when you come into this thing, when you grow up in Babylon the Great, you're taught and you're conditioned to think a certain way. Yeah. And that way that you're taught to think is in opposition to the Most High, to Yahweh Shemi Al-Shai. So when you come in, like the scriptures say, you have to become a newborn babe, and the way that you think has to change. Right. And the way that you think is conformed after Yahweh Shemi Al-Shai. You got it, Doc.
All right, it's Psalms chapter 119 and 9. It says, wherewithal shall a young man cleanse his way? It says, by taking heed thereof according to thy word. All right, so that's the only way. Yeah, that's the only way that we can properly understand if Yahweh Shemi Al-Shai is our guide, as it says in that 2nd Ezra chapter 16, verse 74. Yep. All right, because Yahweh Shemi Al-Shai is the reason for the season, while he's going to guide us through this hell to come. All right, all this is written because it's prophecy. Prophecy was said before, but it's also something that is to come in the future. Mm-hmm. Okay, so all that to say, Yahweh Shemi Al-Shai has set up this whole judgment as a ring, as it says in that 2nd Ezra chapter 14. I perceive how he'll do it once in the past, but it's going to come back around into the future. All right, loosely paraphrasing. Mm-hmm. But we can get back to your point. I don't want to get too far off topic.
No, you good. Let me see. This is let me go to Hebrews real quick. This is Hebrews chapter 11 and verse 1.
My bad.
And I'll read. It says, now faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. All right, and I'm gonna click on this word evidence.
Okay.
Okay.
G1650.
Yep, that's it. When you go into that word, I'm gonna read it on here because I got it. I'm sharing my screen. Okay. It says a proof. Yeah, proof. It says that by which a thing is proved or tested. Okay, conviction, evidence, proof. All right, and it's really a heavy word, but it makes me think about something you just said. In that Psalms 119, it read according to thy word. Yeah, according to thy word. Right, and who's the word? Yahweh Shai is the word. All right, and like it says, and I want to say it's James 1 and 22. All right, the word is engrafted; it's in you. Yep. It's like that. It's like that spiritual GPS. All right, make this left, make this right. Don't do that. Don't do this. Stop. That's the driving force that we're going to have in order to maneuver these times. Yeah. That's that. John 1 and 1. In the beginning was the word. That's a whole entity and a whole force. That's our power source. Starts with that.
And Bakushai, could you read that again?
The verse.
Yeah. The verse.
This is Hebrews 11 and 1. It says, now faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. For by it the elders obtained a good report.
And so what I can surmise out of that precept is temperance. That because faith is something that you're born with. Mm-hmm. But Salakia, faith is something that you're given.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and through proper understanding of it, it's hardened over time. All right.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like temperance. That means that it has been made sharp. Through the way of folding. Uh, that's what tempered is. That's how they make swords.
Tempered, okay.
Temperance.
I thought you were saying temperance.
No.
Okay, kind.
Tempered. But yeah. So all that to say, with these fruits of the spirit that are given unto you, that faith is a huge part of it.
Mm-hmm.
All right. If you don't have faith, you have nothing.
Mm-hmm.
But you got it.
Kind. This is Hebrews 11:3. It says, "For through faith we understand that the worlds were framed by the word of Yahweh Bashem Yahushua, so that things which are seen were not made of things which do appear." All right, so that's a heavy scripture. I'm gonna read in the NLT real quick just to see what it says. And NLT, it says, "By faith we understand that the entire universe was formed at God's command, that what we see did not come from anything that can be seen." All right, so again, your sight, being able to see something, is a part of your five senses,
Yep.
right, that you're taught that you have. All right, but guess what? When you read Sirach 17, I'm tempted to get it. The elect and the sons of God were given senses, right? The sixth sense
and the seventh
and the seventh sense. And really that goes. Let me just read it. I want let me get this real quick, man. This is Sirach chapter 17, and I'm gonna jump to verse 5.
Yeah.
All right. It says they received the use of the 5 operations of the Lord,
and that's the normal, seeing, hearing, smelling,
Mm-hmm.
touching, and
Yeah.
But you got it.
So. Yep. It says, and in the 6th place, he imparted them understanding, and in the 7th, speech and interpreter of the conjugations thereof.
So in the 6th place, that he gave them understanding. All right. Why would you need understanding? To understand the wisdom that was given. Yep. Because that's a lot right there. All right. And then you have to sit and crunch on it. Mm-hmm. And you can get that Sirach 24 to go deeper into that. But you got it.
I'm gonna get a definition of sixth sense on this is on the American Psychological Association. All right. Because really it's going into the spirit of prophecy, really. Yes. Like when you go into wisdom and it talks about how wisdom helps you basically see things afar off, right? Let me read this real quick. This is something that only the elect got.
Yeah, only the elect got.
Because it's through Yahushua, whose testimony is the spirit of prophecy. But let me read this real quick. It says, in general language, the sixth sense is an intuition or instinct that enables a person to make a correct judgment or decision without conscious use of the 5 senses or normal cognitive processes.
So it's something being spoken unto you in that exact moment
mm-hmm.
that you need to hear, and you're looking around. Does anybody else hear it?
Mm-hmm.
What does Yahweh Bashem Yahushua say? What does Yahweh Bashem Yahushua say? He doesn't care about anybody else.
Mm-hmm.
He only cares about you.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, I'm gonna read. I got a precept for you. I kind of want you to speak on it. It says, it's Wisdom of Solomon 6:16. It says, for she goeth about seeking such as are worthy of her.
See?
And showeth herself favorably unto them in the ways, and meeteth them in every thought.
Bible shop. Before I break that down, could you go to this Wisdom of Solomon 1:1? Because that will break down what you just read in 6. Okay? Because it shows how this is given unto the elect. You know.
Yep. This is Wisdom of Solomon 1:1. It says, "Love righteousness, ye that be judges of the earth.
Yep.
Think of the Lord with a good heart.
Yep.
And in simplicity of heart seek him.
Continue.
For he will be found of them that tempt him not, and showeth himself unto such as do not distrust him."
See, so how about Shimei Shai is seeking out those particular spirits, all right, that will not distrust him, that will be willing to submit. Okay, and that's another thing that Jake has a real hard time doing, is to submit,
right?
You know, and understand that they ain't got it.
Yep.
Okay, you can continue on one more verse on that. On that one, yeah.
It says, "For froward thoughts,
there you go,
separate from Yahweh Shem Yahushua."
You know, so forward. Could you pull that word?
Yeah, the word froward, the definition: a person difficult to deal with.
Boom.
Contrary.
Boom.
That links up with the Romans 8.
Boom.
The carnal mind is contrary.
It's that enmity
to the spiritual mind.
Yep. It's that enmity with the spiritual mind.
Right.
They choose not to go right. That's why they don't have the intuition. You know. But
and then in the next verse, I'm gonna read it too. I'm gonna finish this out. It says, "For froward thoughts separate from Yahweh Shem Yahushua, and his power, when it is tried, reproveth the unwise."
So his power reproveth the unwise, the people that are being forward in their thinking, because they choose not to know the will, strength, and power of what Yahweh Shem Yahushua is, or who he is as a person.
Yep.
Well, he's as a magnificent being,
entity.
You know, as someone that is in higher rank of them,
right?
Because people are stupid. These people are idiots.
Yeah.
You know, but all that to say, through the will, strength, and power of Yahweh Shem Yahushua, this is how he chooses them to give that intuition to. You know. Go ahead.
Verse 4, it says, "For into a malicious soul,
boom,
wisdom shall now enter." And when you get that word malicious, it basically goes into ill will or ill intent.
Yep.
Like that example we gave with with Peter. All right. You know, Yahweh obviously had a strong response to it because it was a carnally minded intent.
And if you want another example of a malicious soul that wisdom cannot enter into, Esau Edom.
Right.
He does not have it. He can't acquire it. That's the one thing that he is looking for. All right. He's looking for that blessing that was given unto the elect of the nation of Israel.
Yep. King Saul too, when King Saul went off the deep end.
Yep.
You know.
And he went to that soothsayer, you know, and he was trying to figure out what was going to happen next and everything. Yep. The spirit already told the elect what was going to transpire. That's why Samson or Samuel knew. Samuel knew what was going to happen to him. Yep. You know.
Yep. That's it.
So,
that's it.
But you got it.
No. You good. I'm gonna read this next thing on this. Yeah. So that was the first definition on the sixth sense. I'm gonna read the second one. It says in parapsychology, I don't even know what this word means. Unstensible. Let me see what that word means. Surface. Okay. The unstensible sensory. That's a bunch of big ass words. I'm gonna skip to the good part. It says in parapsychology, responsible for mediating the phenomena of extrasensory perception. You know, so that you can liken that unto a lot of accounts in the scriptures, but one that comes to mind is the prophet Elisha. I want to say, when Elisha was able to determine the king's plans. All right, without even being in, being hundreds and hundreds of miles away. You know,
and that was the spirit of Yahweh Shem Yahushua.
Yep,
exactly what it was.
Yep,
you know,
the angels, the messengers.
Yeah, the messengers, bro.
Nah, yeah, but that's the point on that. Let me see if there's anything else I want on that. Got the Hebrews 10. That was it. That's all I had.
All right. Well, come.
I'll finish with this. This is 2nd Ezra's 14 and 14, and it reads. It says, "Let go from thee mortal thoughts, cast away the burdens of man, right? Because a lot of times you catching hell because you're thinking about something carnally.
Yep.
You're thinking about it like the way one of these, like a nigga would think about it.
Wow, yeah.
You know, and in reality, we've been called to a higher plane. But it says, let go from the immortal thoughts, cast away the burdens of man, put off now the weak nature, and set aside the thoughts that are most heavy unto thee, and haste to flee from these times. All right. So that, just wanted to go into this, man. Faith. All right. Faith is going to be tied to a spiritual mindset,
Yeah.
And not a carnal one, So did you have anything else you want to add? Lord's willing, brothers got something out of that. We're edified. That want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahushai, Bahashim, Rakakwadash. Double honors again to the elders and apostles, great millstone that rule well and teach well. Shalom to the next lesson.
Shalom, shalom.